So today is going to be our last vitamin, guys. It's been fun to go over all of this information and do a refresher for myself and give you guys the information that could be important for whatever reason, depending on what's going on with your body and how to maintain it and keep it well. So everything's going to be about vitamin K today. Vitamin K is going to be the last of the fat-soluble vitamins. A, D, E, and K are the fat-soluble vitamins. And then vitamin K's main roles are in blood clotting, bone formation, and some cardiovascular functions. So vitamin K is just as important as all the other vitamins. And then there's different types of vitamin K. There's K1, and K1 is found mainly in like leafy green vegetables like kale, spinach, broccoli, and it's the primary diet source for vitamin K. And then there's vitamin K2, which is it's found in fermented foods like stuff like yogurt and things like that. So that's where you'll find that form of vitamin K, K2. And then vitamin K3 is a synthetic form, and that's what you're going to get in like supplements and stuff, and usually it's not needed. So just a little food for thought. So when you're thinking about vitamin K, trying to get vitamin K into your diet, think green when you're in the produce section, like the leafy green vegetables. Broccoli is going to be more nutrient dense than iceberg lettuce. Spinach will be more nutrient dense than iceberg lettuce as well because of the color. The more rich the color is, the more nutritious the fruit or vegetable is. So when you're looking in the vitamin, in the produce aisle for vitamin K, rich food, look for green. And then some of the functions we kind of went over already, but it aids in blood clotting. It activates proteins that form clots. So it is essential to prevent us from, bleeding out if we do cut ourselves, and just to help with the cardiovascular system in general. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? We're going over vitamin K. Just to get you guys some information, we've gone over all of the other vitamins and minerals, so this is the last one of the batch. And another function of vitamin K will be for bone health. So it activates something in the bones that supports bone density and strength. And then cardiovascular health, it activates a matrix protein, preventing calcium deposits in the arteries. So it helps prevent calcium from building up in your arteries and your veins. That's something that we don't always think about, but excess of anything can potentially cause problems. Like calcium is good for us, but too much calcium can cause issues like with blocking your blood flow and stuff like that. And then there's emerging research that suggests it plays a role in brain health, insulin sensitivity, and inflammation regulation, but there are still more studies that need to be done. K1 is found in spinach, collard greens, and broccoli. That's going to be your highest vegetables and vitamin K1. And then K2, which is going to be the fermented yogurts and stuff like that, egg yolks, cheese, liver. And then bioavailability of K1 is a lot less than K2. Bioavailability of K1 is 5 to 10% absorption, where K2 is 80% absorption. So that's just something to keep in mind, that K1 doesn't fully absorb. You're only getting part of your intake from that. So you may need to boost up your broccoli intake or kale. And then the recommended amounts for men is 120 mcg a day, and for women it's 90 mcg a day. Infants, they're supplemented at birth to prevent bleeding disorders. I don't know, something just doesn't sit right with me with immediately injecting a baby, even though it is a vitamin. I'm starting to, and this is just, you know, me concluding or, you know, trying to come up with a solution, but maybe babies are born with low vitamin K stores for a reason. You know, like, for instance, almost all old people are on a statin drug to lower their cholesterol, but what if their cholesterol is lowering for a reason at that age? You know, like, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of times we approach nutrition wrong, but there's no other animal in this world that is getting injected by something besides the human baby. So I just, I think we need to reconsider some of the approaches that we've had with health and wellness, because that could be a reason that babies are having issues with autism and cognitive issues. Like, you don't want, Mother Nature is so smart and resilient, you don't want to interject in Mother Nature. I think we learned that over the years, but like I said, taking a fresh, beautiful baby that has taken 9 months to bake in an oven, and just injecting it with something immediately just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, if I'm going to be totally honest. And then deficiencies. Let's see. Causes of deficiency could be malabsorption disorders like celiac disease, Crohn's disease. That is GI disorders that you won't be fully absorbing what's in your gut. So that would totally make sense with malabsorption. And then other symptoms of deficiency is easily bruising, excessive bleeding, weak bones, and increased fracture risk. Which, okay, that makes sense. We just said that it helps with bone formation. So a deficiency would lead to bone weaknesses or increased chance of fractures. And then, like I said, newborns and people, one thing to consider, vitamin K has a drug-nutrient interaction with warfarin. And then also the excessive bleeding with a deficiency, that makes sense because it aids in blood clotting. So it's like, that is science that is understandable, measurable, and correct. Let's see, so it does have interactions, like I said, with blood thinners, some antibiotics. So if you're on antibiotics, it's just something to consider. It may reduce the K2 production by the gut. Fat malabsorption drugs decreases vitamin K absorption. And then in bone health, K2 may be more effective than K1 in preventing osteoporosis. Like I said, throughout, guys, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm happy to answer. Cardiovascular benefits suggest that K2 may lower atrial calcification risk, but large trials are needed. So that science is in the works and still being studied. So there's no definitive results on that. And then there's also studies that it may higher K2 intakes may reduce cancer risk and brain health potential roles, or reducing neurodegenerative diseases, you know, breakdown of the brain. So vitamin K is important for all populations, but especially the elderly and older populations. And you know, like I said, we want to try to keep our bodies healthy now, so we don't have to medicate them later, because medication, that's all man-made. We want to try to keep ourselves as natural as possible. I've been eliminating a product at a time out of my life. Last night I did get my beef tallow, Tallow. It is for your skin. Can you tell? No, I just used it for the first time last night. It is a grass-fed beef fat, and then it has other things to improve the smell, but I found the smell was okay. It's full of vitamins A, D, E, and K because they're fat soluble. So having those vitamins directly on your skin, I could feel it immediately. As soon as I put it on my skin, it was like a real, I don't know, like smoothing effect. I really, like I said, liked how it felt on my skin. I didn't feel any burning or any reactions. So I will give you guys an update on the beef towel as a base moisturizer is what we're going to be using it as. I got a bottle for myself, for my husband, and for my mom. So we'll have 3 little experimental faces to let you guys know the results. But you know, like, I never even thought about my face lotion being full of chemicals. So the best way to try to get these chemicals out of our lives is slowly but surely, to tackle one thing at a time. And honestly, since I've been doing that, I do feel better. I feel cleaner. I feel more normal. I guess I kind of forgot what normal felt like. So I do feel more normal. I feel better, feel less toxic. My vision has improved. My skin has improved. So like I said, the best way to do it, because it is so overwhelming because it's everywhere, is to just do it slowly. And let's see, some practical tips for vitamin K. Include leafy greens and fermented foods regularly to make sure that your vitamin K stores are where they need to be. And then cooking, vitamin K is heat stable but fat soluble, so pair with a healthy fat. What that means is that when you cook a vegetable, the vitamin K is not sensitive to heat, so it will, some vitamins and minerals get cooked out during cooking, but this is not the case with vitamin K. But it is saying to pair it with some type of fat so it can aid in the absorption, fat soluble. So, and then supplementation for vitamin K is not necessary. Just with your diet, make sure you're trying to get some greens in there. Greens are full of vitamins and minerals, not just vitamin K. And then, like I said, kale, broccoli, anything with a richer green color, that means the more vitamins. Turnip greens, Swiss chard, collard greens, spinach, and kale are just some of the few that have a good bit of vitamin K. And then you have like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cabbage. So out of that list, find 1, maybe 2 that you like, and just add it to your grocery list. I've been trying to practice what I preach. I went grocery shopping a couple days ago. I got some apples, which we don't usually eat apples in our house, but we're trying to get an array of color. And what we've been doing is mixing peanut butter and Cool Whip. You mix the peanut butter and the Cool Whip in like a bowl, slice the apples, and you dip the apple slices into the peanut butter and Cool Whip. Talk about a delicious snack. So there are ways, you know, you don't have to eat fruit and vegetables in boring ways. There are ways to spruce it up and make it interesting and enjoyable. I hate when you go to a restaurant and all they have is like a grilled chicken salad and it's so bland. Like, just because it's healthy doesn't mean that it has to be bland. We have a place that we get lunch often, and they provide chicken and vegetables, and it's just seasoned really well, sauteed well, and treated like every other food in the kitchen, not a diet food. So if you are in the restaurant industry, own a restaurant or have a say-so, always tell your boss, or if you're the boss, put a healthy option, put a couple healthy options that have flavor to encourage people to eat healthy. Don't just put a lot of love into the recipes of also think about the people that are trying to eat and provide them with something that'll make them equally enjoyed at the table as everyone else. And then some, it's in some herbs, vitamin K. It's in parsley. Let's see what else. Basil. So you can cook with basil and parsley to improve your vitamin K stores. And then like green beans and lettuce. Green beans, that's something that we eat a lot. So anything green is vitamin K. So okay, vitamin K is green. We got that. And then like, say you're trying to add a little bit of bulk to your dinner to make you more full, adding a little side salad with appropriate dressing. You always have to watch your dressings. Salad dressings can catch up with you. Preferably salt and pepper and vinegar if that is something that you can eat. Otherwise, try to go with a light dressing. Salad dressings are another thing that's full of chemicals, unfortunately. So just something to consider whenever you are using them. Use them in moderation. And then vitamin K sources, K2. This is vitamin K1 was all the greens. Vitamin K2 is going to be like the yogurts, cheese, butter, egg yolks, chicken liver, beef liver, and chicken, poultry. So that's more of like your animal sources versus the plant sources of K1. You need both. Your gut does produce some K2, but you do need both in your diet. So incorporate leafy greens into your salads or smoothies or even a cooked dish. Like I said, adding a side salad with your dinner will make you feel more full, and then you'll also be getting some vitamins and minerals. Add a couple, like cherry tomatoes in there, maybe a cucumber, and then you're getting even more vitamins and minerals. So many of us are eating these empty calories, which are most things that are in boxes. Everything that is heavily processed, and yes, it's very calorie dense, but it's not nutrient dense. So you'll be full from it, but will you be nourished? And this is the craziest thing. So my teacher in dietetics said, she was like, say you're deficient in vitamin K, okay? You can eat and eat and eat, and if your body feels like it still needs vitamin K, it'll tell your brain that you're still hungry. Not because you're still physically hungry, because your body is trying to fill that nutritional gap. So when she said that, I was like, that makes so much sense. So like maybe people that overeat are very undernourished, it's like they're not getting the nutrients, so their body's still craving them and telling them that they're hungry. Warfarin, which is a blood thinner, does have a drug-nutrient interaction with vitamin K. So if you are on warfarin, definitely consult with your doctor about the drug-nutrient interaction. It's something that you need to be aware of if you're not. And the main thing with the interaction is just to keep your vitamin K intake the same. You don't want to go up or down or do excess one day and then the next. It's about consistency, so it can act in a balanced way and not counteract each other. Okay, and then this is just a fun fact. So 1 cup of cooked kale provides over 500,000 of the daily recommended vitamin K intake. So if you don't want to overthink it, then just grab yourself a cup of kale and call it a day. You will get all your vitamin K from just one cup of cooked kale. So that'll be more in its raw state, but 1 cup of cooked kale will give you more vitamin K than you need for the day. So I have a little joke for you guys. Why did vitamin K throw a party? Because it wanted to get the blood flowing and the bones grooving. So thanks AI for that. AI is so fun to use. I don't know if you guys use it, but if you ever have any information that you're looking for, no matter how weirdly specific it is, AI can help you in that department. But that's my spew on vitamin K for today. Now we have officially gone over all of the vitamins and the macronutrients, which are carbohydrates, protein, and fat. So if you're interested in any of that, you can go back and check out what I had to say about all of those. What we're trying to do is identify any potential issues that we have and try to correct them before it becomes a major issue. And that happens to deal with nutrition. Nutrition is medicine. Your food is more important than we give it credit for. So many people go to the doctors and have these issues that can be cured with a nutritional change, and the doctor just gives you a man-made synthetic pill. So that's what we're trying to get away from. We're trying to get back to our roots, back to our nature, and just really try to reconnect with all things natural and good and hope for a better outcome for our longevity. So today, like I said, the place that we order from, the chicken and vegetables, it has broccoli in it. So I will be getting my vitamin K through the broccoli and also the chicken. And then vitamin E will be our carrots, which is in the plate as well. And then cauliflower. Cauliflower is lacking color. I don't know if that makes it lack nutrients or not, but it is more, you know, watery than broccoli. There's definitely a higher water percentage. But it's really about making these small changes, not overwhelming yourself and saying, okay, I'm going to change everything today. Like that's not going to work. You're setting yourself up for failure. So to set yourself up for success, it's about small changes. Me and husband have been talking about working out, like just, you know, something small. So yesterday I was like, okay, this is the deal. We're gonna work out twice a week together, just at night, whether it is 3 sets of 3 of a certain exercise. It's better than nothing. So I was like, let's set us up for success. So we'll do 2 days, and then once we get that into our routine, we might bump it up another day. You know, you don't want to overwhelm yourself. And it really is about, like I said, it's crazy. I read something the other day, and it was saying that, like, if you make a good decision every day for a year, your outcome will be like crazy good. But if you make one bad decision every day for a year, then the outcome will be detrimental. Which, like, when they put it in those terms, I was like, that is so everything that needs to be considered with diet. Because it's like, if you eat a cupcake every single night, knowing that you're not supposed to, that it's putting you out of your calorie range, you'll probably gain 5 pounds, you know, by the end of the year. Just saying, you know, putting a number on it. But if you would eliminate that cupcake every night instead of eating it, you could potentially lose 5 pounds. So, like, that's how we gain control, guys. Like, it really is about making a conscious decision, knowing that you're in control and no one is going to do it for you. You know, there's no reason to pity yourself over spilt milk per se. It's about getting on the horse and doing better the next day. They treat food the same way that you treat addiction. It's 7 steps. You will fall off. That'll be the last step. It's just, you know, part of the process. But then the best thing you can do is correct that behavior as fast as possible. So if you do have a bad weekend, you end up going to a birthday party and overeating, the first step you do is pre-contemplation. Okay, so you are recognizing, hey, I made a mistake and I need to get back on the horse. So then the next step is contemplation. That's what we did last night with our workout plan routine. It's like, now we're contemplating what changes can address the issue. So it's really not about, oh, I did bad today, let me do bad again. That's not what we're trying to teach. We're trying to teach that it's about consistency, it's about accountability, And really it's about doing it for yourself, you know. It's like, do it for yourself, not even for vain reasons, for, you know, looks. It's like, it's for our health. So many people abuse their bodies and just don't take care of them until it's a must, you know, until you have to or you'll die. And that's what we're trying to prevent, you know. Like, we want to be the old people on little to no medication. That's my goal. I've recently gotten off of a lifelong medication and I feel better than ever. It's like, I didn't even know what normal was anymore. And medicine's overprescribed. Some of it is very harsh. Like, for instance, I got off of Adderall. I was on it for over 10 years, and so many people's children are on that medication. And when I tell you that is a very strong medication, it is stronger than any drug that I've ever tried. You know, and it's like, we're giving it to our youth in excess to calm them down. It's like, kids are supposed to have energy. They're supposed to be full of life. That doesn't mean that something's wrong with them. And then there's some kids that are true ADD that don't like the medication. If you're a true ADD, the medication calms you down. If you're not a true ADD, if you're just maybe a hyper kid, then it acts as a speed. So we're literally handing our kids speed in the morning in some cases, and the kids that actually need the medication don't really like how it makes them feel, so they might be passing that around. You know, it's like, what kind of example are we leading or showing as adults, giving our kid a medication that they need to satisfy the teacher? You know, it's like, if your kid is only taking it whenever they're in school and not at home, they don't need it. You know, I didn't need it all those years. I was on it, but I didn't need it. So we're trying to slowly wise up to the medical field. I'm not saying that it's intentional, but over time we have lost our way, and we just need to get healthy together. Corporate America is not going to give us the information that we need. They're just going to keep selling us the same stuff that's poisoning us. So we have to get together as a community, educate each other, and make better decisions together. So that's why, like I said, I feel, hi everybody. That's why I feel like this information is so important, because we've gotten so far from home base. Like I said, just chemicals, you know. It's like, we start our day off with fluoride in our mouth, and aluminum in our deodorant, and all these chemicals in our makeup. Our shampoos are full of chemicals. You know, they say that a lot of shampoos can cause hair loss. It's like, hey, like, that's not what we're washing our hair for. Like, clean up the products. Like, it's just not too much to ask. They're always trying to cut corners and save money. It's like, well, cut out the product, like, cut out the poison. That would be great. So now that we've went over pretty much all of the information, I'm going to try to think of a more concise way to translate it into a grocery list form. So maybe I'll make a little list, and it'll be like 2 things to add to your grocery list each time you go, and eliminate 1, you know, stuff like that. It's amazing how much the brain has to do with our intake, you know. If you sit there and you ponder and all you think about is snacks, then you're going to be hungry. So what you need to do is distract your mind. Your mind is very powerful when it comes to that department. I did this in high school. I would always eat like portion control, like a healthy choice. We've kind of been doing the same thing, doing portion control meals. So we're still hungry slightly after dinner. So what we've been doing is, at night, we'll make ourselves a small ice cream cone. And it's just a treat. It's something for us to look forward to. And with the ice cream cone, you can't really overindulge, because you can only fit so much in the cone. We're not, you know, double stacking them by any means. But it's just like a little mind trick with yourself. It's like, okay, I'm hungry, but I'm gonna have my ice cream later. So just, there's ways around it. There's ways to make it easier for yourself. So always try to make the best decision for yourself and for your family. And even for the little ones. The little ones need the nutrition more than we do. There's so many question marks in their realm when it comes to their health. So introducing a kid to fruit and vegetables will make them more prone to eat them as an adult. So what happens is, if say a kid only eats like processed crap, okay? They're only eating pretty much junk food. Well, their body, or I'm sorry, their taste buds get used to that sweet flavor, that processed sugar. So when they eat a fruit, that sugar doesn't taste as sweet to them, and it's not as enticing. Whereas a kid who eats fruits and vegetables all the time, that's their sugar level that their tongue is telling you, yes, this is good. So it's really about training them to be healthier adults and to make healthier decisions later in life. So it's always important for not just yourself, but for your whole family and for just everyone. You know, we have to spread the knowledge like, hey, mom or dad or grandma and grandpa, like, what medications are you on? Sit down with your family. What medications are you on? Are there ways that we can eliminate this medication via a diet change? I hear so much more success from people that make the diet change versus just taking a pill every day to mask the symptoms. It's not curing anything, it's not fixing you, it's masking the symptom. So if you're taking a cholesterol pill, it's not making your body better, it's just lowering your cholesterol in your body. So what kind of solution is that? That's not a solution at all. It's just a bad maintenance plan, in my opinion. So, like I said, just do your best to make the most nourishing meal for your family. The good thing about fruits and vegetables too is you're encouraged to eat them because they do go bad. In this economy, I know everyone kind of has to watch what you're spending in the grocery store. It's quite ridiculous if you ask me, but I mean, we're to the point where whatever we have left over, we're trying to match it up with something else so it doesn't go bad and go to waste, just because the economy is so terrible. Hopefully we can get that back in order, but if we start to feel better, we might be better employees, we might be more productive people, and we might not feel so sluggish and down and depressed. So like, there's so many reasons to do the right thing, and the main thing is to do it for yourself and to be a good example for people around you. That's something that I've always been. One of my best friends, she's always like, your willpower is unmatched. But it took me a long time to get there. It didn't happen overnight. It was brain training and a lot of heart and just wanting to make the change. You have to want to make the change, and no one else is going to do it for you. So you can either sit there stagnant and complain about it, or you can try to change your life one small decision at a time, eliminating chemicals, improving our nutritional status, and then exercising, like with hula hooping. Yesterday at lunch, I grabbed my hula hoop, I went outside for a second, I got some sunlight, got a little bit of exercise, got my blood flowing. So it's just small little things like that. I usually will sit there and doom scroll on my lunch break, but I decided to get up and get moving, and I felt better after. So these are the small changes we're talking about, guys. We don't want to overwhelm you by any means. We just want you to be your healthiest and best self. So I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll be back soon.